Ero tugucoka kuria cio kimao ni tuuma kuo ni undu wa president ni arakorwo akiruguria mirigo ire riumaga kuria mwena wa Mombasa igathie nginya na guku mwena wa Naivasha nigetha ikorwo igithie imwe kwa imwe na riu meko na atongoria matiganite kwina nginya bubarothi wa kuria mwena wa China imwe kwa imwe nginyagia kuria cio kimao.
Fellow Kenyans, as we usher in a new chapter in our national development, I must take this opportunity to thank the Song and indeed his entire delegation who have come to join us on this auspicious occasion, and to you, Your Excellency, your team, and indeed the government and the people of China, we say Asante Sana, and also Karibu Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, less than 2 months ago, we commissioned the operation of the passenger service along this same route, the route to nowhere. To date, the Madaraka Express has moved more than 10,000 passengers. And we believe that soon the demand will significantly outstrip our carrying capacity. The demand for SGR services along this section in particular, which is part of the Greater Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, Malaba SGR project, is a clear demonstration that we need more capacity and indeed more modern and efficient transport infrastructure to support investors in our country and indeed across the Eastern African region. As we mark this most auspicious occasion, we should bear in mind that for over a century, Kenya was unable to expand the railway network due to our inability as a nation to meet the enormous capital costs. Indeed, from the very beginning of my administration, I did prioritize addressing this historic underinvestment in our rail and road network. Going forward, as we mark the completion of the Naivasha Inland Container Depot and the commencement of the freight operations to Naivasha, it is our expectation that these new transport infrastructure facilities will significantly support and provide anchorage for the development of the Naivasha Industrial Park. We equally remain hopeful that other economic and commercial ventures will be established along the entire line, which together will trigger creation of productive employment and in the process reduce poverty and inequality across the whole country. During the launch of the construction of the standard gauge railway on November the 28th, 2013, while in Mombasa, I said that my government was fully aware that sound and functional infrastructure is a critical requirement in attaining and sustaining social economic development for any nation, including our own Kenya. And it was against this understanding that we set out to construct a high-capacity, high-speed standard gauge railway network for Kenya, incorporating the expansion of the Nairobi Inland Container Depot, as well as the construction of the Naivasha Inland Container Depot. Our aim was, and still is, to provide a fast, safe, and efficient transport solution that would transform the course of development, not only for our country, Kenya, but indeed for the entire Eastern African region. The focus, ladies and gentlemen, should therefore not only be on developing our railway infrastructure solely for Kenya's transportation and logistic needs, but also on creating linkages across East and Central Africa. This is important as it will allow for seamless movement of goods and persons across borders, and with that, the unlocking of our greater full potential. Today, we are encouraged to note that the operations of the Madaraka Express passenger and freight service has been an enabler to each of the 4 pillars of our Big Four agenda. The fast and efficient mass movement of persons and goods is without doubt a prerequisite to the achievement of economic growth and prosperity. Rapid bulk transportation of building materials is necessary for the accelerated construction of affordable housing. Speedy bulk distribution of agricultural inputs and outputs underpins food security. The inputs and outputs of manufacturing must be expeditiously and efficiently transported, and our plans for universal health coverage are boosted by greater connections between our cities and towns. With this in mind, I wish, despite the negativity from certain quarters, to reassure all Kenyans that the significant investments in the SGR project are worthwhile, not only in the short term, but also in the medium to long term. Indeed, our railway is a vital component for the realization of Kenya's Vision 2030, and also our Big Four agenda, as well as our quest to spread fruits of prosperity to every corner of our republic. We, ladies and gentlemen, recognize that transport and logistics are key prerequisites for economic growth within this region and also the African continent. Transport and logistics provide unique opportunities in building, financing, or providing support services. And indeed, I urge local and foreign investors to align their focus and thinking towards taking full advantage of these opportunities. My administration has lived up to the ideals of that journey, and we placed development of infrastructure at the forefront of my agenda. And today, many Kenyans can testify that indeed the fruits of our drive to provide vital infrastructure necessary to improve the welfare of Kenyans is bearing fruit. This Madaraka Express freight service has formed an important part of the transport and logistics chain in Kenya and the region. Overall, service delivery has improved significantly, as witnessed through the decongestion of Mombasa Port, reduced transit times for freight transportation, and enhanced security of transit cargo. This Madaraka Express service trains and activities at Nairobi Inland Container Depot has facilitated the handling of over 6.8 million tons of cargo between Mombasa and Nairobi. Despite this impressive performance, it is not lost on us as a government that we need to continually build infrastructure that will enhance our cargo handling capacity so as to accommodate the ever-increasing trade volumes and complement the freight services of our railways. And this is why we have continued to expand the road network across our country to provide seamless connectivity, as I stated in my Jamhuri Day speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch operations of the Naivasha Inland Container Depot is a step in the right direction, since this facility helps our nation accomplish two key objectives. First, we have improved hinterland connectivity, and thus taken cargo closer to all Kenyans. From the port of Mombasa, cargo destined for the western region of the country, and transit cargo to our neighbors of Uganda, South Sudan, Rwanda, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo will be delivered through the Naivasha Inland Container Depot. The Naivasha Inland Container Depot also boosts our cargo handling capacity and therefore will not only help relieve pressure on the port of Mombasa and the Nairobi Inland Container Depot, but will also take the cargo closer to Uganda, South Sudan, and all our neighbors by a further 120 kilometers from Nairobi. Secondly, this strategic development is a clear demonstration that the standard gauge railway is a game changer in supporting the development of industrial parks, logistics and commercial hubs, as well as special economic zones, which will attract further foreign investments and enable us to do greater business with our neighbors, from Uganda to Rwanda, South Sudan, DRC, and Ethiopia, and indeed the entire African continent. To further enhance efficient transport and logistics networks to Kisumu and Malaba, my administration will soon commence works on the restoration as we move towards Section 2B of our railway from Mombasa to Kisumu and onward to Malaba. Together, all these initiatives will improve in a significant way Kenya's position in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index and therefore make our country the investment destination of choice. Indeed, as I move to launch the commencement of the freight train operations to the Naivasha ICD, let me assure you of my commitment to delivering on all that my administration has promised to do. But I also want to take this particular opportunity to thank you all and to also appreciate our partners, especially the government and the people of the People's Republic of China for their participation towards the realization of this seminal project. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I really just want to take this opportunity once again to emphasize my gratitude to President Xi, his government, and the people of China for being constructive partners in Kenya's social economic development. We thank you for your partnership, we thank you for your understanding, and we look forward to continuing working with you. But we will not only just work with China, we work with the world, and that is the understanding that we have. And indeed, as Your Excellency has stated, both our countries are firm believers in multilateralism, our ability to be able to trade and invest across the world without hindrance. And this, I believe, will continue to forge the basis of not only stronger partnerships between Kenya and China, but also much stronger partnerships between Kenya, China, and the rest of the world. All people who are firmly committed in multilateralism, shared prosperity, and win-win collaboration. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we came to launch the railway to Naivasha, I remember, despite having carried some of you with us, especially members of our fourth estate, your first comment and only comment. And unfortunately, this is a problem of lack of vision. We forget that when the railway started from Mombasa to Nairobi, there was no such thing as Nairobi. Nairobi was created as a function of the railway line that was supposed to be heading to Uganda. And I told you then that commencement of this railway does not mean that because there is nothing, there will be nothing tomorrow. Today, we now have an ICD in that so-called nowhere that you were talking about. That ICD will be serving 2 trains a day with cargo destined for our neighbors. And as it stands today, we already have commitment from 2 shipping lines who will be taking cargo direct from Mombasa to Naivasha in order for our neighbors to be able to collect cargo from Naivasha. As we stand today, we have an industrial park that is being done in conjunction as part of a PPP program with Kenya. And we already have commitment of 1 investor who we shall be opening and groundbreaking a new factory in Naivasha next year, despite on top of all the others who are interested in coming to set up investments in Naivasha as a result of the railway. These are jobs for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, today, as a result of this railway, we have the highest bookings ever recorded in the history of our country in Mombasa, because we have eased the ability of our people to move. And this is not international tourism. This is domestic tourists, our own Kenyans, who are now able to move at reduced cost and be able to populate our hotel facilities, again creating jobs for our people. So, today, I don't want to say very much, kwa sababu nyinyi ndio wajuaji, ndio wenye kuambia wa Kenya ile mnataka wasikie. Yangu ni kuambia Kenya inasonga mbele. Ile mimi nataka leo haswa, hata zaidi ya kila kingine chote, ni kuwashukuru wale viongozi ambao tumeshirikiana, and we have worked together. Despite kelele, mnaendeleeni kutangaza ile mnataka kutangaza. Lakini mimi nataka kushukuru the dedicated men and women, some who are here, some who are even too busy to be here because they are still engaged in national service, who have been the focal point of allowing roads and enabling us to deliver roads in certain parts of Kenya that we had never heard of. It was a dream. They would never imagine that we would have tarmac roads in certain parts of this country, who have enabled us and worked tirelessly to ensure that we have from 23% of Kenyans covered with electricity. Today we have 75%. Towards moving to the top 5 countries, not in Africa, in the world, in terms of generation of clean energy, due to the investments that we have made in solar, in wind, and in geothermal. Na hiyo yote hakuna kazi tunafanya, lakini hiyo ndio nyinyi mnajua tu. So I want to thank them for their dedication. I want to thank them for their service. I want to thank them for their commitment, their loyalty, and their commitment to their country. Wakupiga kelele endeleeni. Muendelee na kelele. Lakini kwa wale ambao wameamua kufanya kazi, nataka niwashukuru. Na hawa ni viongozi from every corner. Chairman wetu wa transport ambaye yuko hapa, ambaye ametusaidia kupitisha sheria. Posing, uko wapi wewe? Wewe. Hongera sana. Kwa makatibu wetu na mawaziri wetu ambao wameamua ya kwamba kelele sio njia yao. Yao ni kutekeleza jukumu na kazi ambayo tumepatiwa kwa Kenya. Hongera kwenu nyinyi nyote. Asanteni sana. Tunawashukuru sana. Na tutaendelea mwaka ujao tuko huko, meli ikianza na ikitoka Kisumu ikielekea Uganda kupeleka mafuta kwa bei ya rais, na watu walikuwa kusema hakuna, mtajionea tu na tutaenda. Leo hii tulikuwa Garissa, watu wa Garissa kupata stima stable, ati wanaweza kupata investments, hakuna. Leo hii Garissa inatupatia sisi dunia hii ingine ya Kenya stima, na watu bado wanasema. Anyway, hiyo ni yenu. Mungu awabariki. Kwa wafanyikazi, shukran, hongera, Krismasi njema, tuendelee kujenga taifa letu la Kenya. Asanteni sana. Thank you, my friend.
Your Excellency, this is not just a project, this is a real project with a real train, which we'd like to start this morning. And so, Excellency,